It's 5 p.m.
All right, quiet on the set.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're live!
Let's start the party.
Broadcasting around the world.
OurBroadcastLink.com.
This is your number one internet station. The music you love right here, right now.
OurBroadcastLink.com.
It's another live broadcast. Special edition. Now your hosts, Rob and Jerry.
Hey, well, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, it's all good because you guys are here with us and we're here with you on Polkas After Dark.
On our broadcast link.
With a C.com. Hey, we're also streaming live.
That.
I know. We're also streaming live on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. And we're excited because in less than 27 minutes or so, we're going to be getting a hold of Jim Maly Weber from the Sounds, Full Circle, the Troll Tones. Boy, he's had an excellent career so far, and it's not up yet, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and play a tune by Jimmy Weber and the Sounds. Here's one called the Open It Up Medley.
It's great to be here on the bandstand among friends that come from far and wide. We hope to play your favorite polkas and stir up feelings deep inside. We hope to get your toes a-tapping and people dancing all around. We want to make it something special each time you come and hear the sound. It's great to be here on the bandstand among friends that come from far and wide. We hope to play your favorite polkas and stir up feelings deep inside. We hope to get your toes a-tapping and people dancing all around. We want to make it something special each time you come and hear the sound. I'm a Polish kid, I'm proud of it. Praise the Lord, I do love it. Polish parents on both sides of me. I'm a Polish kid, I'm proud of it. Bardzo lubię, so ja jestem. I've got Polish friends and family. I'm a Polish kid, I'm proud of it. Praise the Lord, I do love it. Polish parents on both sides of me. I'm a Polish kid, I'm proud of it. Bardzo lubię, so ja jestem. I've got Polish friends and family. You get up every morning, go to work to earn your pay. There's meetings, schedules, deadlines, lots of bills to pay. You wonder if you'll last the day, but what else can you do? What happened on the weekend will help to pull you through. It's time to have a polka party. We're gonna have a real good time. And when it's time to say dobranoc, we're gonna start the party, polka party, one more time. It's time to have a polka party. We're gonna have a real good time. And when it's time to say dobranoc, we're gonna start the party, polka party, one more time.
Hey, what a great way to start off a Sunday afternoon broadcast with Jimmy Weber, Maly Weber, and the Sounds. Vinny on the vocal there assisting him. What a great band that was, a great era, and we definitely want to say thank you guys for joining us here on Polkas After Dark on our broadcast link with a C on Facebook Live. And also we are screaming. We're streaming. We're screaming live on YouTube. We just did it. We just did it. Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, everybody. It's one of those days, hey, where we were just keeping an eye on the Bills game because we have a huge 55-inch TV just above us that we're looking up to every now and then. And it looks like the Bills are 10-0 right now, so that's kind of nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you give a big, quick shout out to some of the folks in our chat rooms there, Jer?
We are going to say hi to Charney, Chris Curtis, Chris Tansky, Dave Lasowski, and Scott Chandana over on our broadcast link with the C. And then we have 7 special listeners with us over on YouTube. And they can jump in and make comments over there. I am monitoring that chat room as well.
Yeah.
And then we have Tony Bialy, Greg Russo, Kathy Graves, Helena, Tommy Hoke, Dave Shanka, and Tina Curtis.
And also, we're going to say hello real quick to Steve Gramala down in Dunkirk. He's tuned in this afternoon as well. Hey, notice Charney. That's got to be Mike Charney. And he had sent me a text a little while ago, well, early this morning. I was still sleeping. But he sent a text and said that he's gotten a lot of viewers, a lot of subscribers on his YouTube channel. And you guys have to make sure that if you're not on there already, go to his YouTube channel and subscribe because he's the guy that's putting up the vintage polka videos every day. You see him on Facebook and on YouTube. So guys, make sure you do that. If you haven't done it, you can leave the site real quick, go over to YouTube and do it and come back. We'll wait.
How about a song while we wait?
Hey, okay, we can do that. Here's the Trelltones, Maly Weber on the vocal way back in the 1970s. I want to say this is probably around 74, 75-ish. Off of the Polkas Podnogi, Foot Stompin' Polkas. Here's Under the Oak Tree.
Na wysokiem dębie biały gołąb siedział. Dajże buzi, Franiu, nikt nie będzie wiedział. Dajże buzi, Franiu, nikt nie będzie wiedział. Stodole na dole, na samym klepisku. Chciał mnie pocałować i dostał po pysku. Chciał mnie pocałować i dostał po pysku. Minęły te czasy, minęła ta chwila. Się każda panienka jedynego lubiła. Się każda panienka jedynego lubiła. Оженю ще старе, модоча учене, а вона до нього, як то старий ще, а вона до нього, як то старий ще.
Way back into the archives, that's Jimmy Weber on the vocal with a tune called Under the Oak Tree Polka, performing that with the Sounds. Trill Tones.
Hi, this is Richie Dombrowski of the Polka Country Musicians, inviting you to join us for the 7th annual Ocean Beach Park Polka Days, taking place at beautiful, sunny Ocean Beach Park in New London, Connecticut, June 22nd to June 25th, 2022. Yours truly, the Polka Country Musicians, will once again be your host band as we bring you some of the nation's finest polka bands. This year, joining us at Ocean Beach will be the Boys, Polka Family Band, John Gurat and Gurate, Matt's All-Stars, the Dyna Brass, the New Tones, Eddie Foreman Orchestra, The Beat, the Maestro's Men, Lenny Gomolka and Chicago Push, the Energy Reunion, and of course, yours truly, the Polka Country Musicians. We'll get this party started once again on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. on the boardwalk with PCM, and music will continue Thursday through Saturday in the Picnic Pavilion during the day and in the ballroom all evening long. For tickets, hotel info, and questions or additional information, please visit our website at www.oceanbeachparkpolkadays.com and follow us on Facebook at Ocean Beach Park Polka Days. It's going to be a great time at Ocean Beach Park Polka Days 2022, and we're excited to be back. You don't want to miss it. We hope to see you all at the beach.
And we hope to see everybody at the beach, too, this year over there for Ocean Beach Polka Days. That's going to be a great time. Hey, you know what else was a great time? Playing with this guy, recording with him. Here's Sonny Wonderlick on trumpet along with Mr. Mike Ivan. And of course, the late Scrubby Severiniak. Here's one called Happy Life, the Dynatones.
Pił ja się łapił, będę bary topił, utopię i swoje, bo i się nie boję. Kierunc szczelu diabła, nie będzie mnie słodził, o którece myślę, to ty będę płacił.
Hey, we're going to say a big shout out to Linda Libera, also for Jackie.
O dobrze gotuje, ziemniaki, kapustę, wszystko tak smakuje. Pójdę do Heleny, bo jest taka ładna, kuleczki czerwone, a figurą zgra. Będę bawy topił, utopię i swoje, bo i się nie boję. Kierunc szczelu diabła, nie będzie mnie słodził, o którece myślę, do tej będę płacił.
Hey, Polka fans, this is John Gura. I just want to say a big thank you, Robin and Jerry, for doing this special show. So sit back. No, don't sit back. You got to get up and start dancing. Let's polka.
Hey, let's polka to Ed Gutsa. Polish Canadians, we're going to send this one out to Dave Zhanka and all the folks out Michigan way. Also, all the folks up Canada way, too. Thanks for joining us here on Polkas After Dark.
Someone stole the kishka, someone stole the kishka, someone stole my kishka from the butcher shop. Who stole the kishka? Who stole my kishka? Who's got the kishka? Someone call a cop. It was round and fully packed. It was hanging on the rack. Someone stole my kishka when I turned my back. Who stole the kishka? Who stole my kishka? Who's got the kishka? Won't you bring it back? Have my shinka, take my fine kielbasa. You can have my gąbki, but give me back my kishka. Who stole the kishka? Who stole my kishka? Who's got the kishka? Give me back my kishka. Someone found the kishka. Someone found my kishka. Someone found the kishka. They put it on a rack. He found the kishka, he found my kishka. Someone found my kishka, someone brought it back.
Hey, I forgot about that drum look at the end. Jeez, oh whiz. Hey, once again, folks, thanks for joining us here, Polkas After Dark. We've got some folks tuned in that are not in the chat room. Kathy Zukowski, we welcome you. Also, Diane Seremin has just joined. And let's see, also Mr. Greg Russo.
Her and Bev are having a sleepover.
Who are?
Bev and Diane.
Oh, they're having a sleepover?
They're having a sleepover.
How come we weren't invited?
I don't know.
That sucks.
Wieczora nad wieczór
I mean, that stinks really bad.
siedzę i czekam. Moje luby nie ma. Pójdę je poszukam. Moje luby nie ma. Pójdę je poszukam. Poszedł pod okienko, zbliza przypatruje jego najmilsza i go całuje. Jego najmilsza i go całuje.
That's Jimmy Weber on the vocal with the sounds, one titled Night After Night Alone Waltz, tuned up many, many years ago by Little Wally. And once again, folks, we thank you so much for tuning us in here. We know you got a lot of choices on a Sunday afternoon, and we do appreciate you taking the time between the game that's on, which we are watching, and it looks pretty good right now. No change in the score. Hey, speaking of no changes in the score, wonder if Mike had any more people hitting his website. You know, once again, don't forget, Mike Charney's got that beautiful Vintage Polkas website over there on YouTube, and he also entertains everybody every morning and every afternoon, and that is with Facebook. So if you don't know Mike, why don't you make sure that you Facebook him? It's Mike Charney, Charney. He loves to have people bombard his Facebook page too, so we're going to make sure that you do that. Hey, let's see here. Also, Anna Szymanski, and we do want to let you guys know that, as we mentioned on our Facebook page, as well as Mr. Michael Gartler had informed us a little bit before we went on, about 20 minutes before we went on, of the passing of Eleanor Mack. Now, a lot of people remember Eleanor. Eleanor was very, very close to Chester. And I believe they had dated for about 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even longer. Gosh, I can't believe that. But it probably has been a lot longer than that. So our prayers are to the family, with the family. God bless you guys. And we're going to miss Eleanor, but you know what? The nice part is she's up there hanging around with Chester once again.
And all the other polka people up there that have gone up recently, they're all hanging out and saying, hey.
It's a big welcome party in heaven. That's the way we're looking at it. Hey, speaking of welcome party, why don't you go ahead and say hello to some more people that have jumped into our chat rooms. I see that Chris Curtis was one of the first ones here. I don't know if Tina...
And so was Tina. Tina was the first one on Facebook.
Oh, okay,
It was
good.
like, ooh, they're waiting for us.
Okay, well, that's good.
So we have Chris Curtis, Chris Tansky, Dave Lisowski, Donna Zelinsky joined us with Teresa and Sarah. We have Mike Birdsey and Pat Mazer and Scotch and Donna over on our broadcast link with AC.
With AC.
With AC.
We don't need AC today.
Mike Charney jumped over to Facebook, so it's nice to see him over there. Anna Szymanski, as you said. We have Diane and Bev listening in, and Dave Zhenka and Sue Lubinsky, Tony Biale, Greg Russo,
All
Kathy
of our contingent
Graves.
up there in Canada.
Helena is with us again today.
And so is Rick Beekler. Rick Beekler just logged in, so we want to say hello to you and the gang out there in Wisconsin.
And Tommy Hook is always up front and personal with us.
Tommy Hook, my brother from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, and we're going to try to sneak something in by Eddie B a little bit later on today. We do promise we'll get something in there by him.
And we want to say welcome to the 8 people watching us on YouTube as well.
Oh, nice. Do we know who they are? Or we're just
nobody jumps in. Just says 8 are watching.
Oh,
so.
good. Good. Well, that's
We're
nice
glad
too.
you're watching over there.
Yeah.
It's a nice venue, and you can throw it up on the TV so much easier than playing with all the computers. I know we have that access on all of our TVs, so we just hit the button.
A lot of people put YouTube up on the TV. Let's see. We talked with Tony and Tiffany, and also Tony Yakubchuk down there in Angola. That's what they do on the weekends, so we thank them. And also all of our Canadian family. Eddie Gutsa and Wanda, they love to watch us on the big screen. It's kind of nice. Did you ever think that in your lifetime you would make the big screen?
I'm famous.
Okay.
We also want to say hi to Jeanette Tonsky, who just joined us.
Hey, Jeanette. Polkas 911. Don't forget, you guys, you can catch some really great broadcasts over there on Polish Newcastle Radio all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You've got a lot of great live programs, live broadcasts, just like us. And we also want to make sure that you tune in to Polka Mike Rudzinski, and his lovely Queen Doris. He entertains us all weekend long, and sometimes during the week, too.
You can hear that.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Well, you may be able to hear that, but I don't think it's bleeding through the
I don't
microphone.
know.
Good.
It was loud.
Okay, let's do this.
Tapping on the table.
All right, there's. Okay, let's bring up a song for Greg Russo out there in Albany. He's tuned in right now while we get Maly Weber on the phone. Here's one by Crusade called Polkas, Podnogi, or Podnogi Polka.
Pod nogi, taniec wokoło, muzyka, sięgajcie wesoło. Pod nogi, taniec wokoło, muzyka, sięgajcie wesoło. Wszystkie ludzie śpiewają na zdrowie, na zdrowie. Zagrajcie, wszystkie ludzie śpiewają na zdrowie to moje. Pod nogi, taniec wokoło, muzyka, sięgajcie wesoło. 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 Wszystkie ludzie śpiewają na zdrowie, na zdrowie. Zagrajcie, wszystkie ludzie śpiewają na zdrowie to moje. Pod nogi, taniec wokoło, muzyka, sięgajcie wesoło. Pod nogi, taniec wokoło, muzyka, sięgajcie wesoło.
Hey, for Tommy Hoke, here's one for you, buddy. Eddie Blazonczyk and the Versatones, a little bit of At the Square.
Hej, na środku rynku stoi tam latarnia, 50 numer, to nasza kawiarnia, 50 numer, to nasza kawiarnia. I tam w tej kawiarni muzyczka pięknie gra, i tam mój kolega wesoło zaśpiewa, i tam mój kolega wesoło zaśpiewa. Jak my się tu zeszli, bawmy się wesoło, bierzmy się za ręce, obróćmy się w koło, bierzmy się za ręce, obróćmy się w koło. Czyjaś ta dziewczyna, co ja z nią tańcuję, jak się z nią wykręcę, to ją pocałuję, jak się z nią wykręcę, to ją pocałuję. czerwieni, odkłada Lucya, odprowadziłbym cię, dziewczyno, do domu, żeby to dla ciebie, żeby to nikomu, żeby to dla ciebie, żeby to nikomu.
Hey, that's Eddie Blazonczyk Sr., the late Eddie B, playing a tune for you, one called At the Square. Hey, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties getting a hold of Mr. Weber, and I don't know what that is, but Jimmy, you've got my number. Give me a call on the cell. Let's go ahead and play another song by Jimmy Weber, this time with Full Circle. Here's one called The Old Country Polka. Recorded live at the USPA 2018.
This one takes you back a couple of years, one called Old Country Polka, Lenny Gomulka on the trumpet.
And once again, folks, we're sorry for the delay. We are trying to get Jimmy Weber on the phone and have not been able to get a hold of him. He's not answering. He might be taking out the trash. I don't know for sure. Trash day, I think, is Monday down there in Florida where he's at.
Well, you know sure as heck I'll miss you too. But playing music is what I love to do. There are women on the road and in the bars. I might even meet some famous movie stars. You've got to know, dear, I'll always be true. 'Cause I'm a polka playing fool for you. 'Cause I'm a polka playing fool for you. this trip will never end. I keep thinking of our next rendezvous, 'cause I'm a polka playing fool for you. When we're playing in Ohio or PA, my love for you will never fade away. So don't ever disbelieve me, 'cause it's true. I'm just a polka playing fool for you. 'Cause I'm a polka playing fool for you. You made me love you, there's nothing I can do. I play in all the towns and miss you when I'm through. I'm just a polka playing fool for you. Now there's so many pretty girls that I'll meet who say you play so nice and you are so sweet. But I just told them, sorry girl, can't go with you. There's someone at home, I promise to be true. 'Cause I'm a polka playing fool for you. You made me love you, there's nothing I can do. I play in all the towns and I miss you when I'm through. I'm just a polka playing fool for you. La 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 la. La 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 la. Just for you, hon.
Hey, for all you Brass Connection fans, that's one called the Mellow Jello Polka. That was done up originally, I think, by the Tones, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, we were able to get a hold of Maly, and he said he was 5 minutes from home, so he's going to give us a call back in about 5. So until then, you guys can listen to a little bit of the Honky Hoppers. Here's 2500 Polka. Hey, that's the Honky Hoppers, a blast from the past there as well. Ricky Pianowski on the drums. And of course, Richie Kurgel Sr., who's also living there down in Florida, on the concertina. And a whole bunch of guys. Billy Barnes on bass. Let's see, Ray Barzakevich on clarinet and sax. And yours truly on trumpet. Hey, let's bring up a song right now by the Cavaliers out of Michigan. Cavaliers with a K. And here is one titled, Who'd You Like to Love Ya? We're just anxiously waiting for the phone to ring. Mr. Weber will be joining us very, very soon.
Who'd you like to love ya? Who'd you like to love ya? Who'd you like to hold you tight? Who'd you like to kiss ya? Who'd you like to kiss ya? When it's time to say goodnight. Who'd you like to want ya? Who'd you like to want ya? Close your eyes and try to see. Who'd you like to love ya? Honey, can't you see? I hope you're gonna say it's me. Who'd you like to miss ya? Who'd you like to miss ya? If you sail so far away. Who'd you like to need ya? Who'd you like to need ya? More than anyone can say. Who'd you like beside ya? Who'd you like beside ya? On the day you say I do, tell me that you love me if you really do. 'Cause honey, I'm in love with you.
Hey, here's Jimmy Weber on the clarinet for you guys right now. He's going to be calling us in just about a minute or so. We did get confirmation from his beautiful wife, Tara.
Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for me. And the reason is clear, it's because you are here. You're the nearest thing to heaven that I've seen. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find just learned my name, and it's telling me that things are not the same. Even the leaves on the trees and the touch of the breeze, there's a pleasing sense of happiness for me. There is only one wish on my mind. When this day is through, I hope that I will find that tomorrow will be just the same for you and me. All I need, dear, will be mine if you are here. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. You've come and put me at the top of the world.
Oh, yeah, that's the sound of Jimmy Weber on the clarinet playing a great tune for you guys. It's one of our favorites, Top of the World with Full Circle. And believe it or not, I do have Mr. Weber on the telephone right now. He deeply apologizes. His DoorDash order was a little elongated today. But Jim, can you hear me?
I sure can. Hi, Robin.
Hey.
Great to be on your show.
Hey, thank you so very much. And we've got some pictures courtesy of Mr. Les Kapuscinski, and some really, really cool pictures of you two playing horn, stick. There's a bunch of confetti right behind you, and I'm sure that's one of your favorites. Hey, Jim, let me get right down to it, and I'm going to probably keep you on the phone here maybe till about 25 after the hour. We're looking at 10 minutes to 6 p.m. right now, Eastern time here on Polkas After Dark. But let me go ahead and start out with a little bit of just critiquing. How old were you, Maly, when you first heard your first polka song?
So I'm going to guess it was probably somewhere around first live polka was probably around 1968 or 69.
Okay.
My parents always used to listen to Joe Theodore on the radio, and during the summer he would broadcast live from Theodore's Grove, usually two bands.
Yeah.
And so my dad said one Sunday, hey, let's take a ride out there and see what this Theodore's Grove is all about. So we as a family, my brother, myself, my mom and dad, we went there, and he says, let me see who's playing. So he goes up to the booth there that you had to pay to get in, and asked, and he came back to the car, right, and he said, well, it's Joe Theodore's son, Little Ronnie and the Carousels, and some other band called Eddie Blazonczyk's Versatones.
Some other band. Beautiful.
So he goes, do you guys still want to go in? I don't know how that Eddie Blazonczyk guy is going to be. And so we went in, and Robin, it was right when he released the Polkas Aplenty album, right? So one of his, top bands of that era. But, and the place was just like mob. The floor was bouncing. And so that was my first live exposure to like bands and things like that. And I actually at that time thought Little Ronnie was the better band. But
I remember Little Ronnie. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Was that Little Ronnie and the Carousels, right?
Yeah. And it was the Schutte brothers and the Grudny brothers, right?
Wally
and
and
Eddie
Bobby,
Kosolik on drums.
Wow.
Right. So they were actually pretty good, and then that whole band later became, Ray J and the Carousels.
Yeah.
And then plus Teddy joined the band, Teddy Gabala.
Yeah.
So that was my first live exposure. But growing up, my parents played polkas, all the time. And it was mainly a little Wally household,
okay.
A little bit of Marion Lush, And then when, it's kind of funny, when they bought Eddie Blazonczyk's Polkas, a plenty of them, they brought it home and they said, oh my God, that's not polkas. So, it's so funny how, from that Adamczyk, Ampelairs, Little Wally genre, right?
Yeah.
The bands that I don't know, like the older people were the dominant demographic. They didn't like the newer bands, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the newer bands became the standard. Lush and Eddie Blazonczyk and Happy Louie. And then, some of the bands that push the envelope, you will hear kind of like the major polka demographic saying, I don't like those guys. That's not polkas, right? It's kind of funny how it comes full circle.
Holy smokes. Yeah, we'll be talking about full circle in a little bit, but Bud, let me ask you this too. How old were you when you played your first polka? And if memory serves me correctly, you started out playing clarinet and sax, didn't you? You didn't pick up the trumpet for a while.
Yeah, my first instrument was tenor saxophone,
Okay.
and then I moved to clarinet, although the instrument I actually wanted to play was trumpet. But we went to like a music store that gave lessons, and he kind of like looked at my teeth structure and said, trumpet's not a good fit for me, but he said saxophone would be.
Oh, wow.
So I started off on tenor saxophone and then moved to clarinet. And then probably trumpet came in, I don't know, maybe a couple of years, after that, 2 or 3, maybe 4 years after that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, how old were you when you first played with a band? And what was the band's name?
So the first band, I wasn't an official member. They would bring me up to play like 2 or 3 numbers.
Okay.
They were a band in the Pittsburgh area called Polka Preps.
Polka Preps.
And it was Stash Wasilewski on drums. He used to play with the Polka Jets.
Yeah.
John Gehrig on trumpet.
Oh, wow.
And a clarinet player, Stevie Zemba.
Okay.
And then there was another trumpet player, but he didn't last very long. And then my brother on accordion. A lot of people don't know, like my brother's first instrument was accordion.
Oh.
And he had a great right hand, but he had like no ability to push at all.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, see,
he was an Audi.
And I played with Gary for a couple of years with the Trelltones, God rest his soul. He was an animal on concertina. I never knew that he played accordion. Yeah. Holy smokes.
He did, yeah. And he was very accomplished on it. Like I said, had a really fine right hand, but just never really got into the whole left-hand push thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so. And his band before the Trelltones, it was... what was Rich Tomkowitz's band?
Was it the Constellations?
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
So he joined them and then, moved from those guys to the Trelltones.
To the Trelltones. Now, who was in the Trelltones first? You or your brother Gary?
I was.
You were. Okay.
So it was probably, I'm going to say maybe around 1970, 71. Stevie Fennis had to have an operation, and he wasn't going to be able to play for like 6 or 8 weeks. And so the trumpet player at the time, his name was Dave Morris, not to be confused with Big Mo Morris, right?
I remember Dave.
His family, his parents and my parents, in effect, grew up together on the south side of Pittsburgh. Okay. And Dave had heard me play, a little bit here or there, or when he would come over and play with my brother, I would join in.
Okay.
And he asked Andy to say, hey, it's only 6 weeks. Why don't you give this little kid a try? And then it worked out pretty well, and they added me as a 6th piece.
Okay.
And then Dave Morris, the trumpet player, got drafted and then it went back to 5-piece, and that's really where, my horn playing started to kind of ramp up, right? Because Dave had left, Steve was playing more and more trumpet, but needed some spells here and there, and then that's really where I started to focus on trumpet.
Now, you played with the Trelltones for a while. You recorded a few albums with them. Were you on Super Polkas for Super People?
I was.
Okay, you were also on Polkas Podnogi, Foot Stompin'.
Yep, I was on that one. Yep.
Okay, and then did you do any after that?
Well, not officially.
Okay.
So Joey Stolarz on their 25th anniversary album?
25th, celebrating 25 years,
Yep. He had broken his arm.
Oh.
And he had tried to do the session, but had problems.
Oh.
And, with playing the parts. And so Andy called me up, and so that's me on that album.
Oh,
even though
okay.
it says Joe Stolarz. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. After you left the Trelltones, you went to Michigan, to Detroit for a while. I remember going to Seven Springs and standing in front of the Dynastics. Who was the Dynastics? I had no clue. But man, did they have a ballsy sound. And I remember watching you play stick with Eddie Shivyats.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that stint, why don't you?
Well, so I was in college. I was in probably like my second year of college at the University of Pittsburgh. And with playing with the Trelltones, I had become friends with like Tony Kempinski and Eddie Shivyats, playing at like the IPAs and the USPAs and things like that.
Yeah.
And Tony, they had, as you noted, a really powerful, really technically sound musical band called the Dynastics. But once again, they were only one horn. And so Tony and I had kind of wanted to move on from the predominantly honky style with the Trelltones.
Gotcha.
Into more of a push style, two-horn style. And Tony said, why don't you go to school at, Michigan and come out here and join us? And so when I said, yeah, sure. So I left the Trelltones. I moved out there. And as soon as I got there, the other trumpet player was Billy Kolonowski, who was just spectacular on horn. Yeah. He left the band.
Oh, jeez.
So it was back to single horn, but it wasn't really like a single horn honky band. It was pretty heavy push. Yeah. They were like disciples of the Tones Orchestra.
Oh, yes.
No, with the exception of Ronnie Marchishik, no one worked. So, in effect, for the entire spring and summer, all we did was practice and play.
Wow.
And it was like going for a master's in polka music, because the Kempinski brothers and Shivyats, they were very versed in the naturals and Steve Adamczyk, and they were also tough taskmasters, right? There is a tape floating around of the Tones playing Over My Cradle, 5-piece.
Okay.
And then there is another tape, several years later, of the Dynastics playing the exact same arrangement. And it would be hard to pick out which is the Tones and which is the Dynastic.
Wow.
Note for note, it was just matched. It was that, I would almost say, that kind of pressure, right? And trying to mimic the Tones is, and all of the talent in those guys, like that's no small feat. But it was a crash course. But then at the end of the summer, there wasn't another horn player on the horizon, and Zip Lubavitsky calls my parents and says, "Hey, I need a trumpet player, and we're going to Hawaii for a week with Joe Fedor, and I need a band, and then we're going to spend 3 days in Las Vegas."
Oh, darn.
So I packed up all my stuff and I came back to Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh my God!
Now that's when you were playing with the Polish All Stars.
Yeah. So I came back. I played with the Polish All Stars. I don't know, off and on for about a year. Like that was '76 with the Dynastics, and then the Sounds. We kind of started putting the Sounds together in '77. So kind of like that '76, '77. I was doing most of my work with the Polish All Stars.
Now I'm gonna take you way, way back here, and I'm sure you're gonna remember it. The building no longer exists, but I remember seeing you in 1977 with the Sounds. I think it was your first job. It might have been too, and that was at Twin Coaches.
It was, yeah. And the funny thing about it, like we had bought the. I don't know if they were called the Bose 800s yet. It was the wooden ones, not the plastic ones.
Yep.
And they had a design flaw that the fuses they put in them were undersized. They needed to be 4-amp fuses.
Okay.
And what they had in them was 3 amps. So the first song was an instrumental, right? No problem.
Right.
Second song was a vocal. We get like a half a word in on the vocal, and all the fuses blow in the
And it
speakers.
popped. I remember that very, very well, as if it were yesterday.
Oh my God, it was a catastrophe, you know? But, so like we kind of figured that out. Matt Gregg and the Polka Gents were playing there. He had known about the problem and put some different fuses in, and I turned it down a little bit and we got through it.
Yeah, it sounded good. What a fantastic sound you guys had. Now, back at that time, you had a guy by the name of Kenny Shinsky from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, one of my neighbors, playing drums for you. That's when the band first started out. Who else was with the band at that time?
It was Kenny on drums, Ray Lukács on violin and bass guitar and lead guitar.
Okay.
And then it was Vinny on bass guitar and lead guitar. It was Joe DiPiatic on trumpet, Dave Morris on concertina and accordion, and then me, on trumpet, clarinet, and saxophone. So, and one of the things, and Robin, like you would know this from being in Pennsylvania, if you were a polka band, you were also a cover band, right? Because you would play a lot of weddings.
Yes.
And when I go back and think about, especially Ray Lukács was extremely good on guitar with lead guitar, and Vinny was more rhythm guitar. Like some of the pop stuff we did for that time was really like you wouldn't expect it out of a polka band. You know, we were doing stuff. I guess it was around like Saturday Night Fever. We were doing stuff off of that. We were doing stuff by the Average White Band.
Yeah.
Well, even when you were in the band, we were still doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, played stuff by the Eagles.
Yeah.
Which was unheard of by, a polka band playing stuff like that. And, fortunately, I have to say this, there's not a lot of bands out there that can cover both genres, or multiple genres, I should say, because, you've got some great polka bands, but when they attempt to play other stuff, it's not as good. And that's something that you guys really, really had with the Sounds. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, but, you make a good point. Like at some point, we sat down and said, what are we going to be? Are we going to be a wedding band? Or do we want to try and make a go at this polka thing? And as a band, we just decided, we were going to focus all of our practicing and things like that on polkas. And so, at that time, the pop and the cover tunes really started to deteriorate. We did enough to be plausible, like if you were playing a dance, or we would still do some weddings, but we were predominantly, a polka band.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, after Kenny left, I know that you had Tony Kempinski come in and play a bunch of jobs, because I remember seeing you guys at different events. And then all of a sudden, I get a call from this guy, Maui Weber, one evening, and it was about maybe 7 o'clock at night, and he's like, "Hey, Robin, we heard you play drums with the Invictus," because we had shared the stage with the Invictus. And he says, "I'd like to have you come down and try out for the band." And at first I thought you were joking. I really did. And, you know, how do they say the rest is history, Maui? Because you guys, you gave me an opportunity that I will never, ever forget, which led me into, you know, some other drinking heavily and which led me into some other things, and then playing drums with the Dynatones. But it was an honor to play with you guys during that era. The Sounds received a lot of awards through the USPA and the IPA. Do you have to go for another DoorDash run? Is that what that ding is? No. Okay. Because you're gonna make a lot of people mad. I mean, they're probably waiting for dinner right about now.
There you go.
But just tell us a little bit about some of the awards that you guys got.
Well, you know, I'm going to regress a little bit. I'm not going to pass over your stint with the band so quickly, but
you're not going to mention the wrestling in the van, are you? While we were going 55, 60 miles an hour. Okay, good.
Oh my God!
When I was chewing on my hand.
The stories I could tell you, but I will share one of them. But,
sure.
But anyway, so it was right with that decision as to, you know, with the Sounds, what do we want to be when we grow up, right? Or are we going to be a polka band, or are we going to kind of be a polka band and a wedding band and a cover band and everything like that? And so the two guys that didn't want to, you know, have a steady diet of polkas was Kenny Shinsky and Ray Lukacs.
Okay.
They kind of liked not traveling, staying around home, and then the other four of us kind of like looked at each other and said, "Man, that's too bad." So they left the band. And then you're right. We had heard you on drums, and then we were having a rehearsal, and we brought you in, and I remember it was at Dave Morris's basement, right?
Yep, his parents' basement.
Yeah, his parents' basement, right?
Yeah.
And we played one song, and I remember looking over at Dave, and Dave was like all smiles, and he just like winked at me. And I said, "Well, we found our new drummer."
Wow.
And then Andy had been trying to join the band, right?
Yeah.
We were actually thinking of going 7-piece. But some of the guys in the band who had left didn't want to kind of take the pay cut for 7-piece. And so when Ray and Kenny went, right, we were fortunate to have you on drums, and then Andy joined us, and Andy had a shake that could, you know, knock down the Taj Mahal if you needed it to.
Yep.
And that was, you know, Robin, I don't know whether it's kind of like, I don't know whether you talk to musicians a lot, but now that, like, we're older, right, and you talk to some the musicians that were younger, like when the Sounds were playing, when you had joined the band and Andy joined the band, they said that band and the recordings associated with that band and the live performances with that band were probably like the biggest influence on them playing polkas. They just said that band, between Robin's drums and his creativity and Andy's bellow shake and some of the cookie horn parts we were playing at that time, it was just a powerhouse and just made a lifelong impression. And I never really thought about it that way. Like, I kind of thought, like, hey, we were like a pretty good band, right?
Yep,
you know,
exactly. I agree.
But I'm telling you, if I had $1 for every musician that has told me that, I wouldn't be delivering DoorDash now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also, you know, I accredit and it's a God-given gift. It's not a talent, and that's exactly what you have and everybody that I've come in contact with, and everybody knows I'm not a religious guy, but I do have to say that it is a God-given gift. It's not really a talent. You can sit and lock yourself in a room and practice for 8-10 hours a day and still not be able to accomplish this stuff, Maui, that we did during our lifetime. But I grabbed a lot of stuff off of Roger Malinowski throughout the years, listening to Tones tapes until I was blue in the face with the sounds.
Yep.
Every road job, we'd listen to a Tones tape. And for those of you young people that are listening, cassette tapes were very big back in the 70s and 80s, I might add. But also, him, Bobby Zima, and then we saw Boisonchek with Jerry Tokarz. Gosh, Bobby Zima. I mean, just all those drummers. I just tried to pick little bits and pieces out and put that stuff together, as you probably did with like Happy Louie, Lush, of course, Lenny. You've done a lot yourself, but you have your own style and your own technique, and that's what's gorgeous about playing.
Well, I think it is, right? When you're young and you're starting out, like you're stealing a lot of things, right? Learning, like I said, the dynastics with Over My Cradle, mimicking the tones, literally note for note. But over time, you blend all of that stuff into what becomes your own style, right? And it's a little bit of this, and it's a little bit of that, and it's also a little bit of you as you gain proficiency and confidence in yourself being a musician. Yeah. And then, you can kind of set your own bar.
Agreed. Now, who was your biggest influence, Maui, on, I'm going to say sax and clarinet, and then I'm going to say trumpet. Who was your biggest influence as you were growing up and saying, man, I love the way this cat plays. I'd love to be able to do some of that myself someday.
So, this is a pretty pathetic story, but so I was young, right? And I already told you, like, it was a Little Wally household. And the biggest influence on clarinet and alto was Eddie Noga with Little Wally.
Okay.
And he was just, and you'll hear some of those videos on YouTube with him with Little Richard. And I don't know, he's probably like 70s and them things. And he is still wailing. I called him like the Pete Fountain of polka music.
Yeah.
Like it was like polkas on Dixieland. Yeah. And so the pathetic part about it was I had just got an alto saxophone, and I taped onto cassette all of my favorite alto songs that Eddie Noga was on, and I would go to sleep with that tape playing under my pillow.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. It really is.
No, that's weird.
No, that's interesting, because look what it did to you. I mean, that's amazing. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, it did do stuff. My eye twitches now. I can't even do that.
Oh gosh. I want to ask you so many more things here, but we are close to about 20 minutes past. Do you have maybe another 10 minutes that you can share with us?
I do, yeah.
Great.
Sure, no problem.
Tell us, do you have a most memorable gig that you've played? I mean, you've played all over. You've played all the major festivals with the sounds, the Troll Tones, Full Circle. You've done a lot of great stuff. IPA was the first time that I saw, or I'm sorry, not IPA, USPA was the first time I saw Full Circle, and I'm just standing in front of you guys, and literally what I'm thinking, because you got Roger, you got Lenny, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm standing here listening to the Tones, the band that I grew up with, that I always wanted to hear, never got a chance to hear them live like you did. It was just amazing. You guys blew it away. But do you have a most memorable gig? And it could have been with any band whatsoever.
Yeah. I think, I mean, there were lots of memorable gigs with the Sounds, right? I remember Frankenmuth, like the first time we played there. I remember Three Rivers, Massachusetts.
Oh, yes.
The first time we played there, you were in the band. You were there.
Yeah. Sturbridge.
Sturbridge was good, but in Three Rivers, that was at that time, that was the biggest crowd they had ever had. There was over 1,000 people paid at that. And it was just mobbed, right? So and there's so many different sounds jobs that are memorable, but I think with the Full Circle guys, there was one USPA, and I can't remember if it was the first one. I think it was probably the first one we played, right? Okay. And there were two memorable moments in there. One was when we did a Steve Adamczyk tune, right? So Steve Adamczyk is predominantly two clarinets and pretty simple trumpet parts. And the clarinets, they never friggin' stop playing. You're playing for like 80 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So and each song has like 6 or 7 parts, and nothing is pushed, right? It's just in Roger's back there, doing whatever he's doing, like eating a turkey sandwich or something, because it's not all that complicated until the very last 8 bars, where all of a sudden Roger winds up and Al starts to push. And so
it's like somebody threw a stick of dynamite up on the stage.
And at the end of it, the crowd just was like applauding and screaming, and it was. And then the second half, it was in the next set. There were a lot of people from Pennsylvania, and it was the first time we redid Polka Music in My Veins with Lenny and I singing it.
Yeah.
And I think it hit some heartstrings with a lot of people, and literally there was a roar at the end of it.
Yeah.
That was just like, even for all of us who had on stage, we just like looked at one another and said, "Holy smokes, that's a rush."
Yeah, here. And that's like I said, we've got a lot of memories that people can talk about, but it's embedded in our minds, and we will take that to our graves. That's all there is to it.
Absolutely. So here's a funny story, right?
Go ahead.
And so you're playing with the Sounds. We're playing, I think, in Bad Axe, Michigan, in November on a Saturday, and then we're down near Detroit for the Michigan Rowdies playing with TBC, and we're following like Gary Kluka, and there's like snow flurries in the air, and we're following them, and we're on like I-75, I think it was.
Okay.
And all of a sudden Gary Kluka pulls over, right? Like there's something, he's got some car problems, and we pass him up and pull past him, and it's cold, right? There's snow flurries, and you're in the driver's seat, and
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
No, you're in the
passenger seat,
and you look at me and you go, "Hey, watch this." So you take off all of your clothes except your underwear, and we are literally like 150 yards away from Gary Kluka, who stopped, and you go running down I-75 to see if you can help him fix his car. So
I'm crying.
Eventually,
I'm literally crying right now.
Eventually, you decide it's cold and I better get back in the van. And we lock all the doors and we started to drive away. And you're pulling on the door and you're cussing us out and MFing us. It's cold out here. And I'm going, "Well, you dumbass, you shouldn't have taken off all your clothes and ran down the hallway." Oh my God.
Oh, those were the good old days. I'm telling you, you do that now, I'd be in prison for 12 to 20 years.
Oh my God. We are so lucky we're still alive.
But you know what? If you stop and think about that, I invented streaking. So that's one of the things that I look at as far as, people will ask me, "Hey, so what's your biggest accomplishment?" Well, I think I can add that to the list.
So, oh my God, the stories
Hey, how
just
about
go on and on and
how
on.
about a breakdown story? Can you share with us your favorite breakdown story?
You know, we didn't have many. Like the only one, I do have one.
Go ahead.
It was the what I call Sounds 2, right? It was Ralph, and Ralph was in the band, and we were coming home from Michigan,
Okay.
and Vinny's driving, and he hits something in the road, and like it kind of bounces up under the van, and no one thought any of it. It was like in the middle of the night. All of a sudden, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, the engine seizes up.
Oh wow!
Because in those customized van, it had a second like radiator in the back for heat, and apparently whatever he hit had sliced the the hose that ran the length of the van. He didn't notice the temperature gauge was going up, and he ran us out of fluid in the radiator, and just kept driving. Hey, we're in Ohio. We're almost. Oh, maybe not.
Wow.
And we had to replace the engine.
Oh, geez. And how many jobs have bands talked about where, we've been interviewing folks since October of 2020 already, and it's kind of crazy, but people tell us stories all the time about all of this, and fortunately nobody other than one band that I can remember were alive or lives were lost. A life or lives were lost.
Yeah.
But you stop and think about that. We actually had a lot of miles on us, all the bands, and just God was with us every time we got in and when we got out.
Exactly right. Right. Your weekend warriors, you're by the time Sunday hits, right, you're sleep deprived. Sometimes you've been drinking. A lot of times you've been drinking.
Sure.
And you're trying to make it home for Monday to go to work. I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
That it's really remarkable how the tragedies did not occur over decades.
Yeah.
Right. There's been very few.
Yeah.
So we're truly blessed, and God is watching over a lot of us.
Here.
Just as we try to bring a bit of musical happiness to people all over the country.
Sure. Hey, one more thing that I always like to ask in an interview as we exit now. What recommendations would you give? What would you say to someone that just wants to get started in music, Maly? Any genre whatsoever. They're all gung-ho. They want to do something. What would you say to that person?
Find yourself a great teacher that will teach you the fundamentals, the correct fundamentals of your instrument. And and that will give you that foundation that then you can jump from. It's kind of like a batter, right? If your swing is messed up, you're going to be fouling things off. You're going to be hitting things into the ground. You're going to be striking out. But like on clarinet, in Polish polkas, like you play a lot in sharps, right?
Right.
And so there is this technique where, what's actually a cardinal rule is that with your pinkies, you should never play two notes on the same pinky. It should be like right pinky, left pinky, right pinky, right? So in the case of doing a run from an F sharp to an E to a D sharp is on my right pinky, the C sharp is on my left, and the B is back on my right. And so you're not tying your pinkies up trying to slide them around the keys. And at times when some bands will call me up and say, hey, let's do some songs with two clarinets, right? They have a clarinet player, and I'll go, okay, let's do this one. And the person is struggling because they never learn that cross finger. And to try and play the song we wanted to play, it was like impossible. I'm going like, dude, that is like so hard to play it that way. I'm going, did you ever think of playing that C sharp on the left pinky? Well, no. Oh, that's what that key's for.
Oh, jeez.
But it's the fundamentals, right? And the thing that kills me on trumpet is I never studied, right? Any fundamentals I have is from what I picked up from other people. Whereas, I had an excellent teacher and studied for years on clarinet and saxophone. And and everything was just like all the classical stuff, right? And then eventually he gave me some jazz stuff. But I don't have any of that fundamentals on trumpet. And I struggle with that to this day, right? Wow. Am I doing things right? Like what I've done over the years is just apply kind of clarinet fundamentals to the way I play trumpet.
Interesting.
But obviously, that's not the best way to go.
Well, now I got to tell you something before we close out here, and thanks so much for allowing Jerry and I to take up so much of your time. Please apologize to Tara, but
no, Tara's fine with it. It's the people who aren't going to get their dinners.
Yeah. That's all right. You'll be doing Uber Eats by the time everything is done next week.
Cold French fries suck. That's all I can say.
Hey, but one thing I want to make mention too is thank you so very, very much for all your talents. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to get behind the drums with you guys, because we really rocked. I mean, I'm not blowing my own horn, but we really did. But I also wanted to make mention real quick. I talked to Lenny Gomulka a couple of years back, and I was watching him play, still do, to this day. He's just phenomenal, and he comes up with so many ideas, and he's so creative. But I had to ask him, I said, it's always been voodoo for a trumpet player to play the first and second valve, which is an E or an A or, C sharp, whatever, with the third valve. And I had noticed him doing that, and he is so proficient at it. I says, why all of a sudden have you changed that? And he says, I get bored. That was his response. And down in Fredonia, Dunkirk, we saw him a couple of years back with a bunch of people from Buffalo. We drove down there for a Kalenda night. But I'm watching him play, and it's like, why do you do that? And he says, well, sometimes I get bored. That was his response.
Well, and I love him dearly, and he's like my biggest hero.
Oh, yeah, mine too.
And, for any category, right? Songwriting, vocals, trumpet, clarinet, carrying in equipment, whatever, right? He's like my biggest hero. But when I joined the News, Jay-Z, John Zelasco came up to me and said, we were talking about clarinet players, and he said, well, like, you and Lenny are like alike. I go, oh, we are not alike. Right? And he goes, no, the stuff you play is like really hard and it's really clean. And I'm going, yeah, but here's the difference, right? When Lenny just comes up with that stuff on the spot.
Yeah.
Like it just like blows into his mind.
Yeah.
And then he plays it. I said, for me, like, it'll take, like, I'll work on things. To me, playing clarinet is like an algorithm, right? I'm adjusting the algorithm. I'm playing it over the course of 5 weeks or a month or a couple of weeks. Can I come up with something that's Lenny-esque? Yeah. Well, it takes me a month, But him, it's like...
Yeah. He eats, sleeps, and breathes it.
He's a freak. I mean, and I say that in a positive
in
manner,
a good
like,
way. Sure.
in a
sure.
good way. You know, we did this Steve Adamczyk song in Chicago for the IPA Festival of Bands, and it was oh my God, I don't know, it was like play number 78, right?
Okay.
And it's in flats, right? Because those bands didn't play in sharps, right? And so playing so many years for me in sharps, like the flats, like I took all those flat keys off my instruments, right? Because I figured I'd never use them. But so like playing in flats was awkward for me at times, right? So we're playing this song, and all of a sudden, like Lenny taps me on the leg and like says, "I got it," and I go like, "Cool." And he rips off this solo in B flat. Like, you know, I just felt like going to like the bar.
Yeah.
And hey, can I have a Miller Lite, please?
Yeah. Just put your clarinet and trumpet
spot.
in the cases and just walk out the door.
and listen to him. Go out in front and listen to him on the spot.
Yeah.
Something that, you know, it wasn't like some thing he remembered from Steve Adamczyk or Steve Jankowski or any of those old time. Boom! It just flies in. He's playing in B flat, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he's one in a million. That's all I can say.
Hey, Maly, thank you so very, very much for your time this afternoon. I'm glad that we did get a chance to finally connect. We've got a lot of folks that have been commenting on the interview, and looks like most of it's positive, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Except for the guys whose French fries are
They're waiting on their food. Oh, jeez. That's going to be a long-standing joke for a long time. Hey, great to talk to you, buddy. Great to talk to
Take
you.
care.
Love you. And
I love you too.
And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and just stay safe. That's all we got to say.
Okay, you too.
Thanks
Stay
so much.
safe and healthy.
Here,
All right,
here.
love you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, how about a little bit of Jimmy Weber and the Sounds with the luscious Lush medley?
Józia więcej, tu Chicago spaczeno wam nie będę. Miłowałem piękne panny, miłowałem piękne panny, a teraz już nie będę. Miłowałem piękne panny, miłowałem piękne panny, a teraz już nie będę. Już walizka spakowana, mam je w wozoczku leży. Wynieś mi o moja luba, wynieś mi o moja luba, wynieś mi od zawiezie. Wynieś mi o moja luba, wynieś mi o moja luba, wynieś mi od zawiezie.
Czerwone rozeczki, białe wioleczki, piękny kwiateczek, dziewczę dla ciebie, bo sercem bardzo kocham cię. Piękny kwiateczek, dziewczę dla ciebie, bo sercem bardzo kocham cię. Dziewczyno, kocham cię. Kocham cię serdecznie. Piękny kwiateczek, dziewczę dla ciebie, bo sercem bardzo kocham cię. Piękny kwiateczek, dziewczę dla ciebie, bo sercem bardzo kocham cię. Jakie czasy już nastały, że się baby pościekały. Oj dana, dana, oj dana. śniegał i łojdana. Wczoraj dała mi na łysku, dzisiaj bije mnie po pysku. Oj dana, dana, oj dana, oj dana. Dzisiaj bije mnie po pysku, oj dana. Oj dana, dana, oj dana, oj dana. Dzisiaj bije mnie po pysku, oj dana.
Poszedł sobie na zabawę, oje, oje, i tam cię bardzo ucieszył, oje, oje. Muzykanci ładnie grali i tak ładnie się śpiewali, oje, 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 je, je. Wypił sobie dobre wódkę, oje, oje. Ludźmi się ładnie zabawił, oje, oje. Za co mnie tam tańcować, a tam ludzie za co kochać, oje, 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 je, je. Płacze panna, płacze Hanna, tak płacze dla mnie, tak płacze dla mnie. Tak płacze dla mnie. Płacze panna, płacze Hanna, tak płacze dla mnie. Tak płacze dla mnie. Moje kochanie, nie płacz panno, nie płacz Hanno, ty będziesz moja. Ty będziesz moja, ty będziesz moja. Nie płacz panno, nie płacz Hanno, ty będziesz moja. Ty będziesz moja, nie będzie inna. Ciemnełaczka ma, ciemnełaczka ma. Ładna dziewczyna, ładna dziewczyna, to moja jedyna. Ładna dziewczyna, ładna dziewczyna, to moja jedyna. Czerwone usta, czerwone usta, ząbeczki białe, ząbeczki białe, włoski kręcone. Ząbeczki białe, ząbeczki białe, włoski kręcone. Miasteczka stała młoda dziewczyna. Hej, piękna była, piękna jak laleczka, ale była za młoda. Hej, piękna była, piękna jak laleczka, ale była za młoda. Hey, hey, have a little, yeah. chimney boczka, młoda dziewczyna miała. Hej, chimney boczka, piękna chimney boczka, młoda dziewczyna miała. Everybody now, hej, hej, kawalerowie, nie zawracajcie dziewczyny głowę, głowę, hej, hej, kawalerowie, nie zawracajcie dziewczynę głowę, a Joey.
Hey, what a great medley of tunes, Marion Lush tunes performed by Jimmy Weber and the Sounds. Boy, what a great interview. You know, Jerry, I'm looking through a whole bunch of comments here, and a lot of people are saying great interview, the best one yet. We want to say hello to some more people in our chat room. Brian Shankus from Polish Newcastle Radio, and we understand that we forgot to mention this too, that Tara and Jimmy Weber do a fantastic job on the Polish Newcastle Radio, along with a lot of other great folks that we tune in. So, Brian, we're going to say hello to you. Also, Fred Gordon. Fred Gordon is here in Buffalo. We thank him. Teresa Wendt is on as well. And Dave Zhenka said he almost peed his pants. Just laughing so much.
It sounded like you guys had a great time on that interview. I usually take interview time to do stuff around the house and finish what I didn't get started before the show. But listening to Robin laugh and like I could tell he was crying.
Wait till you
I
hear.
cannot wait to hear the interview.
Yeah,
we always review
it.
the show after, so Jimmy, I will listen to it, and I'm looking forward to it.
And Kyle Kohan mentioned, hey, I remember Erie polka days with the balloons. Yes, Kyle, that's another thing I should have brought up to Maui, because that was a major head rush for us. We go up to play our set, and it was Maui's idea to, hey, let's get a whole bunch of balloons. We'll fill them with helium. We had Polka Music That Sounds Good t-shirts in blue, I think blue and yellow and whatever. But the band primarily wore the blue with white dress slacks, white shoes. I mean, it was really classy, but we go up to play our first set, and the girls from the band were handing out the balloons, and to see all these people coming up with these helium balloons that said Polka Music Sounds Good, because they were all iconic as well. Everything was, printed on the balloons, and just to see that was like a major rush. I mean, we all had tears in our eyes while we were playing the first song. It's like, I can't believe this. So hats off to Weber. Again, he just does a fantastic job on anything he touches. And like I said, I mean that sincerely. I had a blast working with them over those years. Let's see. Tara also said, hey, beautiful. Be careful what you wish for, Robin, when you get Maui on the phone. Diane Sim-Ceremet. She says, now that's funny, but I think there were a lot of funny parts, and I haven't laughed that long. I haven't laughed that hard in so long. So thanks, Weber. I needed that. Let's see. Also, Laura Kokowski saw the reunion in New London. It was awesome with Jimmy Weber and the Sounds. Looks like Veronica Costa and Mike. She said, nice interview, Jimmy. Let's see here. Oh, gosh. Brian Chenkus said also true. Looks like the Chip Jackson Merwins said great interview. Mike Suchi from Michigan of the Suchi band Judy and the Suchi Brothers. Said, awesome, heartfelt interview. Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for tuning us in. And let's see, who else do we have here? Oh, Mark Swoger wanted us to make mention that it is 13-10. The Bills are leading by 3. We're keeping our fingers crossed for that. Let's see, who else was on here? How about, who do you have there in the chat room?
Les Kapuczynski said that it was an excellent interview of a truly talented musician with a great sense of humor. One of the best ever.
Yeah.
Enjoyed every word. He also asked, how did Jimmy get the nickname
Maui? You know, I think it was because, and again, he could clarify this maybe in a post or something, but I believe it was because he was so small back then. I mean, he literally, between him and I think we weighed about 150 pounds between the two of us. Ain't that right now? But
well, I know you posted that picture you were in yesterday.
Yeah.
With your friend, and I'm looking at that going, look at how tiny he was. I mean, you were just
I had a
itty-bitty
29-inch waist back then. Yeah. Hey, speaking of waist, I don't want to let these songs go to waste because we got a bunch more, and we'll probably go a little bit after 7 for you guys tonight. But we wanted to send this one out to Chris Tansky, the president of the Buffalo Polka Boosters. She loves Jimmy Weber and the Sounds, but this is one that she requested a little bit earlier today. And it's Stash Belunda's Average Polka Band, APB. And here's one called Band Up in the Sky. Listen to this, a great tune.
I had this dream that I died and went to heaven. And when St. Peter opened up the pearly gates, as I looked around heaven, the sights were so amazing. But what I heard up there was something truly, truly great. 'Cause the heavens, they were filled with polka music by the greatest polka band I've ever heard. 'Cause the great ones playing polkas up in heaven were the great ones who played polkas here on earth. Yeah, the heavens, they were filled with polka music by the greatest polka band I've ever heard. 'Cause the great ones playing polkas up in heaven were the same ones who play polkas here on earth. So I asked St. Peter, I said, St. Peter, can I sit in and play a few tunes with these guys? And he just shook his head and said, no, it's still not time for you to join the rat. He said, my work with polkas back on Earth's not finished, but when it is, then he'd invite me back. Then someone said, hey, Stash, before you leave us, tell our friends back home that we are doing fine. And tell them every time that they hear polka music, they should think about the band up in the sky. Then the heavens filled with sounds of polka music by the greatest polka band you've ever heard. 'Cause the stars that shine so brightly up in heaven were the stars that shine so brightly here on earth. Yeah, the heavens, they were filled with polka music by the greatest polka band I've ever heard. 'Cause the great ones playing polkas up in heaven were the same ones who play polkas here on earth.
Hey, we're going to say hi to Mike and Sue Birdsey out there in Depew area. Here's Jerry Kaminsky's band. Obedic time for you guys. Here's one called Do I Like It, Obedic?
Baby, when you hold me tight, just the way you did last night, do I like it? Yes, I like it. When you whisper in my ear, things that no one else should hear, do I like it? Yes, I like it. When our kisses mingle, do I tingle right from the start? That's so strong you hear a thump from my poor little heart. When you're jealous as can be, 'cause you're so in love with me, do I like it? Yes, I like it. Do I like it? Yes, I like it.
also to Ted Jarozevich. Thanks so much for the compliments. We appreciate it.
Baby, when you hold me tight, just the way you did last night, do I like it? Yes, I like it. When you whisper in my ear, things that no one else should hear, do I like it? Yes, I like it. When our kisses mingle, do I tingle right from the start? That's how drum you hear a thump from my poor little heart. When you're jealous as can be, cause you're so in love with me, do I like it? Yes, I like it. Do I like it? Yes, I like it.
About a little bit of Stash Galanka, the Chicago Masters. Hey, gonna send it out to everybody that gave kudos to Jimmy Weber on the interview. Thank you so much, Jim, once again. So nice to reminisce about the old days. Those are the things that memories are made of. Les and Alice Kapuscinski, once again, Les, thank you so much for the pictures. The photographs are amazing. Scotch and Donna, thank you so much, as well as Donna Zielinski, says great interview. Here's Stash.
I have just one heart. This heart I bring to you. I have just one heart to share with you. I have just one dream to share with you. You are that one dream I pray comes true. You are my one love, my life I live for you. I have just one heart to give to you. I have just one dream to share with you. You are that one dream I pray comes true.
Another song recorded, one called Leaving for the Front Polka.
No, I don't think this is Leaving for the Front, but it is a tune by Michael Costin, the beat. Here's one called Dancin' the Night Away. You're tuned to Polkas After Dark, our broadcast link with a C.com.
Friday night and you feel alright, but you don't know what to do. Pick up that phone or sit at home and wish tonight was through. You gotta make a plan, now take a stand to get up off the floor. Forget your past and kisses trash as you toss it out the door. Come on and dance the night away. We can rock the night until the break of day. Come on and dance the night away. Let the music bring you to a better day. Life is short and time goes by, so don't you blink an eye. There's no rewind to get another try. It's here now to figure out just what you need to do. If you live your life with the one you love, it'll always see you through. Your friends are here and the car's back with iTunes and supply. No time for tears, just drinking beers and a polka dance tonight. These pens are great, so we can't be late. We're gonna squeeze onto the floor. Raise our hands to this rocking band and scream and shout one more. Come on and dance the night away. We can rock the night until the break of day. Come on and dance the night away. Let the music bring you to a better day. Everybody, dance the night away. We can rock the night until the break of day. Come on and dance the night away. Let the music bring you to a better day.
Hey, how about a little bit of Dennis Polisky's Maestro's Men here on a Polkas After Dark, our broadcast link with a C.com. Also streaming live on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And while you're subscribing, go over to that Vintage Polkas site over there on YouTube. That's Mike Charney's site. Make sure that you visit and subscribe to that as well. That's what's keeping us all going, folks.
Jeździłem, tańczyłem, dużo zobaczyłem. Napłakał dziewczynę, tak się nauczyłem. Hopsa, sasa, usiasia, fiu, fiu, sasa, oj moja dziewczyna. Nocnie do niej chodził, nigdy nie pobłądził, tylko tak mówili i się tak schodzili. Hopsa, sasa, usiasia, fiu, fiu, sasa, oj moja dziewczyna. Oh yeah. Ale grajcie, chłopaki. sasa, usiasia, piu, piu, sasa, o moja dziewczyna. Gdy miał iść to do przytulę się do niej i mówił jedyna, tyś moja dziewczyna. Opsasa, busiasia, fiu sasa, oj moja dziewczyna. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Dennis Polisky and the Maestros Men doing it up here on the Sunday afternoon edition. Hey, don't forget next week to join us Saturday night. That's coming up Saturday night right here, Polkas After Dark. We start at 9 p.m., go all the way until 11 p.m. And I just want to take a quick peek here and go over some of the people that we are going to be interviewing over the next couple of weeks. You heard a very, very nice interview with Jim Maui Weber from The Sounds, now residing down in Florida. On January 16th, next week, Sunday, we're going to be talking live with Andy Fennis from the Trelltones, and I'm sure he's going to share a bunch of stories too with Maui, myself, and all the guys that had played with the Trelltones over the many decades. Andy's been playing, I think, for over 50 years already. I can't believe that either. Hey, then on January the 23rd, we're going to be talking with Dave Gavrinsky. Yep, he used to reside in Ludlow, Massachusetts, now down in our neck of the woods, down around Eden, with Musical Magic. On the 30th, we are still determining if we're going to be doing anything then. On February the 6th, hey, we've got Frank Stetter from Daisytown, Pennsylvania, the Mon Valley Push. And Frank was kind enough to send us some new tunes off of his brand new CD that's not released yet. So you do want to make sure that you get a chance to check that out. We're going to be starting those on Saturday night. February the 13th, no broadcast because I believe there is some kind of a big game on TV that everybody's going to be watching.
Unless we decide to pregame.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do a pregame show. Which would be kind of nice for about an hour because everybody usually goes and gets their food, their grub.
Definitely won't be an interview, but there may be a show.
Yeah, and I know Maui's going to be busy that day driving food all around to different places, but he should be making some wicked tips, so that'll be nice. And also on February the 20th, we're going to be blessed to talk with Joe Michelik from Buffalo, New York. You guys will remember him with Pick a Polka, the TV show from the 1960s. On February the 27th, guess what? We're going to shoot out to Chicago, Illinois, and talking with Dennis Motika from the Good Times Band. And then on the 13th of March, March the 6th, we're still looking at filling that slot, which we're in talking stages with a few people. But on March the 13th, Whitey Rignetz from Chicago played with the Marion Lush White Eagles Band and a bunch of other groups throughout his history. He also played with the Dynatones when they first started out. And then on March the 20th, Mike Stupinski from Chicago, Illinois, playing with Lenny Gomolka's Chicago Push. He's performed with Full Circle as well as Marion Lush's White Eagles. And then we're going to be heading into April already. Boy, I cannot believe that at all. So we've got a couple more months yet to play around here, and we thank you guys so much for sticking around on Polkas After Dark. Hey, here's a tune by Eddie Blazonczyk's Versatones, Another Day on the Road. Here's Junior on the vocal.
Long-distance phone calls, packing up our gear out in the cold. Coffee in the morning, throw my suitcase on the bus. It's just another day out on the road. Home from work on Friday, kiss the wife and kids goodbye. It's time to hit the highway, playing music with the guys. A six-pack and a deck of cards, a sea of brake lights on the cars, and every town begins to look the same. It's always highways and dance halls, long-distance phone calls, packing up our gear out in the cold. Coffee in the morning, throw my suitcase on the bus. It's just another day out on the road. Sitting in a hotel, eating pizza and hot wings, taking in a movie, passing time with other things. The phone line's always asking, when is daddy coming home? And it's just another day out on the road. It's always highways and dance halls, long distance phone calls, racking up our gear out in the cold. Coffee in the morning, throw my suitcase on the bus. It's just another day out on the road. A dance hall full of people, smiling faces everywhere. The high we get from playing and the good times that we share. If there's any place we haven't been, I guess that's where we'll go. And it's just another day out on the road. It's always highways and dance halls, long distance phone calls, packing up our gear out in the cold. Coffee in the morning, throw my suitcase on the bus. It's just another day out on the road.
Oh yeah, listening to a little bit of Blazonczyk with Junior on the vocal, and one called Another Day on the Road, and it looks like the Bills just did.
Might have just called it back.
Did they call it back or what? Let's see. Yeah, I think they did.
Like it was inches.
Well, they
I
may.
could be wrong.
They may. Well, we'll take a look. Hey, one more time, give a quick rundown of the folks in the chat room. It looks like we have a couple new visitors. Sounding great from Fort Myers, Florida, and that's Dennis Gviazdawa. So thank you, Dennis, for tuning in. Also, Helen Boback from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Helen, welcome. Thank you so very, very much. It looks like Loretta Curtis is in here, Loretta Curtis Mackle. And we're hoping that Caleb is doing well. Also, we're going to say hello to Diane Sim-Ceremit once again. You said they're having a sleepover?
They are.
Yeah, good. Did you see the cool picture that Linda Petrozeski posted? She's got a nice cool decal on her car window.
She said it's a new hobby, so I think she might have got a cricket too.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
So I can do cool stuff like that as soon as I finally get my office set.
Yeah. Hey, real quick though, we want to make mention one more time that we have another public service announcement. If you guys watched the program last night, we had a young lady come on and tell us a little bit about how to test at home for COVID for free. Actually, it cost you just a couple bucks, but check this out. Why don't you?
My friend told me about a home COVID test. I'm going to share it with you, so follow along. It could save your life. Open a can of beer. Now what you do is you smell it and then you taste it. If you can smell it and taste it, you don't have COVID-19. Last night, I did this test 19 times. They all came back negative. Tonight, I'm going to do the test again because I woke up with a headache and I'm afraid I might be coming down with something. I'm so nervous.
Hey folks, once again, you can see a lot of that stuff on Facebook. Friends, send us all kind of great things. We love Facebook. We love Facebook Live. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got one more song that we are going to end out the broadcast with. Jerry, do you have anything to mention to the nice folks out there?
We love you guys, and we are so glad you spent today with us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We're going to finish out watching the game this evening.
Dinner is ready.
Dinner is ready. So we're going to eat. I didn't even hear the doorbell ring. Maui must not be driving up this way. Hey, we again want to thank Jim Maui Weber from The Sounds and Full Circle and the Trolltones and every other group that he performed with over his career. He's still performing down there in Florida, and hopefully Jerry and I will get a chance to go down there and hang with him and Tara and a couple of the musicians that are staying down there, living down there right now.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys, for tuning us in. As we always say, if you've been listening in your car, thanks for the ride. And we'll talk to you again Saturday evening. Be here on Polkas After Dark at 9 p.m. to 11 Eastern Time. Mr. Zhenka, you requested this. We're going to finish it out right now for you.
Grajcie, muzykańczy, hej na zabawie, gdzie tańcują ładne panny i tak bawią się. Grajcie, muzykańczy, hej na zabawie, gdzie tańcują ładne panny i tak bawią się. Raz, dwa!
See you guys next week.
Na lewo, na prawo, everybody do tańca! Grajcie, muzykańczy, hej na zabawie, gdzie tańcują ładne panny i tak bawią się. Orkiestra tak dobrze grywa, ludzie śpiewają, piją wódkę, piją piwo i good time trzymają. Grajcie, muzykańczy, hej na zabawie, gdzie tańcują ładne panny i tak bawią się. Orkiestra tak dobrze grywa, ludzie śpiewają, piją wódkę, piją piwo i good time trzymają.